What's up YouTube? Samurai X here with another video, and today I'm going to be doing a little bit different video than what I usually do, and I'm going to be talking about the Golden State Warriors, who are my favorite basketball team. So just to kind of start things off, this video is going to be more of a dialogue about the team and some of the decisions that they've been making and are going to make in this offseason, and my thoughts on what I like and what I would like them to do. So this video is probably going to be split up into two parts. The first part we're going to talk about the draft, and then the second part we're going to talk about free agency. And I'm going to do that mainly because I have a lot of thoughts and I don't really know how much rambling I'm going to be doing. But yeah, it'll probably be in two parts. So look for part two if you're watching this now. So first off, let's talk about the draft, because they did have two lottery picks. A lot of fans were hoping that they would trade those lottery picks for a superstar or someone else who can come help them now, rather than draft two rookies. Again, because last time they had James Wiseman last year, and to be honest, this is one of those times where I kind of get mad at ESPN and some of these media outlets, because they talk about trades so casually sometimes that we forget that in order for them to be able to do a trade, they actually have to have someone who's willing to trade to them, right? So from what I've seen and what from Bob Myers, the GM, has said, there really wasn't a trade to be had. So I don't know why there's a lot of people who are upset that a trade didn't happen. One example for just to talk about it, Bradley Beal was a name that came up a lot. Bradley Beal said he wants to stay in Washington. Washington has said that they want to build around him, so there's no Bradley Beal trade to be had, So it's kind of weird to me, when I turn on ESPN and they're still talking about, doing a Bradley Beal trade, and then, after the draft has already been, done, when it's already pretty clear that the direction that Washington is moving in, they're not looking to trade Bradley Beal. So one of the things I've been kind of content about is I don't really think the Warriors need to trade right now. I think right now the main thing should be looking forward to free agency and putting players onto the bench that can really play some big minutes, that have been to the playoffs, been to the finals, possibly even. So I'm not really too concerned about what trade didn't go through or whatnot. And I'm really, when I look around at the different trades that have been talked about, it just really doesn't seem like there was a trade to be had. Because I know it would be really cool to get that Bradley Beal or that Damian Lillard that everybody has been talking about, but I don't really think that those trades, maybe they were talked about, but they just didn't go through because one team or the other team just didn't want to go through with that trade. But I'm really not too concerned about it. Some of the other trade prospects that I heard about, I didn't really like anyway, like Ben Simmons. I don't really feel like trading for Ben Simmons. I mean, he was just in the playoffs and cost his team going further into the playoffs because he couldn't shoot free throws, right? So I don't think giving up the whole team for Ben Simmons, or at least all of our young guys for Ben Simmons, is the best idea, especially when you start hearing reports that there are people in the organization that are questioning his worth ethic. Excuse me. So I think it'd be really weird for the Warriors to try and put a lot of faith in a guy who might not have the best worth ethic of any player. So yes, he's skilled, but I don't really like that trade. I think I would rather keep Andrew Wiggins anyway. Then you hear trade ideas for Kristaps Porzingis. Well, Kristaps Porzingis is, he's a bit of a diva. Everywhere he goes, it's the team's fault. It's not his. So that mixed with the fact that he's super injury prone, I don't really want to, have to worry about bringing him and Clay back by the time, as you saw with the Lakers this year, having to deal with two of your star players with injuries. That's not really a good recipe for winning a championship. And in fact, they didn't even make it out the first round because of that. Other than that, people being mad that there was no trade to be had and that they drafted, I don't really understand that. I mean, if there's no good trades, then you kind of have to draft anyway. So you really have to kind of look at what did they draft and did they do a good job in the draft. So let's talk about the draft a little bit, shall we? So number 7, Jonathan Kuminga. Ooh, okay, so this one was one where I kind of went back and forth with people online because I did not think for a second Jonathan Kuminga would fall to 7. And so I was more kind of debating, like, who would they take afterwards. But I would always say, if he does fall, they should take him. And he did fall, so I was like, well, I guess that kind of settles it, because they'll just take Jonathan Kuminga. And understand that by draft night, if there wasn't any trade to be had by the Warriors, that they weren't going to trade on draft night. They were just going to draft those players and then possibly look for a trade later. So I kept seeing, people say, well, maybe they'll have a trade on draft night. That was never going to happen. Okay. I've seen this show long enough to know, if a trade's going to be had of this caliber for the Warriors, it would happen before draft night. So Jonathan Kuminga, though, was an absolute steal. They did say that they wanted athleticism, and Jonathan Kuminga probably the most athletic person in the draft. I think you can probably count the number of people you could make an argument might be more athletic than him on your hand. So, I mean, that's a really good get for them. A wing that has exceptional potential. He kind of reminds me of sort of Jaylen Brown, Kawhi Leonard, that type of wing where they come in kind of raw and you don't really know how good they'll be. But if he's able to develop his game, his shot, his ability to pass, all these different qualities that he has, I do think he can be a superstar on that level of a Kawhi Leonard or even a Jaylen Brown who's still ascending. So I don't think people who are still wanting them to do a trade, I don't think it's going to be as easy as just, oh yeah, we can just trade Jonathan Kuminga because we want to win now. I think if you're going to trade him, it has to be for a superstar caliber player. So that's one of the things that they're actually going to have to look at if they do want to do a trade. And just to settle with the trade ideas from the Golden State Warriors fans, they probably won't do a trade until it's closer to the trade deadline, if they do any. So if you're one of those guys who are still looking forward to, maybe they'll do a trade in free agency, that probably won't happen unless they get like an insane offer that they just can't pass up. But my bet is that they won't even look at trades until the trade deadline, where they can really look at these young guys and evaluate them and see, do they have a place on this team long term. So until that happens, I don't think they're going to be really looking to trade. I think they also will need to see for themselves what Andrew Wiggins can bring to the team next year. He's definitely grown. The last couple of games he had were amazing in the season, and then even in the Olympic qualifier, even though Canada didn't make it, they lost to a really good Czech team. So it's not like it was a bad loss or anything. He played really well in the Olympic qualifier, and he shot more than 40% from the three-point line. So, excuse me, if he's able to shoot that way during next season and grow in like all the different areas where he's really good at, then I don't really know if we have to make a trade. Like, who are we going to trade for that's going to be significantly better than Andrew Wiggins, right? Like, when I look back at when we, got Kevin Durant in free agency, for instance, we went from, Harrison Barnes, who's like a star in his own right, to Kevin Durant, who is a superstar. Like, that was a huge jump. But going from Andrew Wiggins, we don't really know what he's going to be next year. I think he can be an all-star next year, right? So, trading him for anyone who's not at least an all-star level talent, most likely a superstar level talent is what I would be looking for if I'm the Golden State Warriors. Then there's really no reason to trade him. So that's where I'm at with the trade. I just want to bring it up again because there's so many people who want to trade, and it's like, what are you trading him for? What are we bringing back in the process? You can't just say we want to trade and then there's nothing to trade him for, right? The idea of a trade is that you're making a trade to get the team better. But most of the time when you see people who say, oh, I want to trade, they can't even name you a person that they would want the Warriors to bring over. So it's like, what exactly do you want? But anyway, back to the draft. So there were a lot of people who were upset that they didn't draft James Bouknight over Kuminga. I like James Bouknight. I never really loved him for the Warriors anyway, mainly because I don't really see how you would put him and Jordan Poole next to each other when neither one of them really wants to be on ball. So it's not like I didn't hate the idea. Like, if Jonathan Kuminga wasn't there at 7 and they went with James Bouknight, I would be happy about that. Like, that would be a good pick. But I wasn't so sold on him that when they chose Jonathan Kuminga, I was mad about them picking him over James Bouknight. I don't think he's that great of a talent, but I do think he landed in a really good position. Him next to LaMelo Ball, so now he doesn't have to be an on-ball guy. I think that's really good for him. But yeah, Jonathan Kuminga, I would take him over James Bouknight every day. And I don't really think there's anybody else that was there at 7 that I would take over Jonathan Kuminga. So I was really happy about Jonathan Kuminga. But more excitedly was Moses Moody falling to 14. I don't think I ever thought that was actually going to happen. And the funny part about it is it actually happened because of some of the weird stuff that happened in the beginning of the draft, right? Because think about it. So Scotty Barnes goes 4th to Toronto, right? Which means that Orlando gets Jalen Suggs. My bad. I get them mixed up all the time. So anyways, they get Jalen Suggs at 6, which means that at 8, they can't really take Moses Moody because now they would have two guards, and they already have a bunch of guards, so they need more length. So they go with Franz Wagner, which is a much better fit for them. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, that seems right. So then Sacramento chooses Davion Mitchell, which didn't really make a lot of sense to people, because I think people, for the most part, don't see the fit with all their guards, but I guess they just decided to take the best available person, and they'll figure everything out later. So yeah, that was a place where Moses Moody could have gone there, but instead they decided to go with Davion Mitchell. So then you get to number 10, and New Orleans traded their pick to Memphis. And if New Orleans had been there, they would have picked Moses Moody for sure, because they were already interested in him. But instead, Memphis is there, so they take Zaire Williams, who has a bigger upside, but it will take time to develop. They have a young core, so they can take that time to develop him. Which, again, looking back at it, really worked out for us, because if New Orleans was there, they would have picked Moses Moody. They were very interested in him, and he really fits with what they really needed on the team. So then you get to number 11, which is Charlotte, and Charlotte goes with James Bouknight, because James Bouknight didn't get picked because we picked Kuminga. And so now you have this situation where I was like, okay, well, I mean, San Antonio could still pick up Moses Moody. And then San Antonio, they reach back in the draft and get Joshua Primo, who's a guy who needs a lot of work, but a lot of people feel could be something very special one day. So then you had the Pacers at 13. Now the Pacers, I felt, were really, looking at Josh Giddey. But Josh Giddey got taken at number 6. So I was like, okay, so they're probably going to pick Moses Moody, because there was a lot of reports going out that they really liked Moses Moody and his workout that he had with them. So then they go Chris Duarte, which was a pick that a lot of people wanted Golden State to pick at 14. But now we get Moses Moody, who a lot of people thought would go in the top 10, like just a couple of days ago. And it all worked out just because of all these strange different things that happened around the draft time. And so it was like this weird steal where we got Moses Moody, who's probably a top 10 talent, at number 14. I was really excited about that. So then I do this thing called going onto the internet and looking at, what people felt about this draft from the Golden State Warriors point of view. And there was a lot of fans who were upset that the Golden State Warriors chose Moses Moody over Trey Murphy. Sorry. I'm not really sure about that one. I get it. There were a lot of fans who were thinking, Trey Murphy at 14 would be really good, and I was one of those. But if you had a choice between Moses Moody and Trey Murphy, I'm taking Moses Moody every single time. Now, some people might think that's kind of strange because Trey Murphy had a better shooting percentage than Moses Moody from 3. But what you got to understand is, and this was in college, what you got to understand is Moses Moody is more of an all-around scorer. He shot more than twice as many shots as Trey Murphy did in college and last year. And that was mainly because Trey Murphy was more of a third or fourth option. Moses Moody was more of a number 1 option for his team because he was the best scorer. A lot of people have said too in scouting reports that on a team where he's not required to be the number 1 scorer, his percentages should go up. But because of that, and the fact that he's more athletic, he's better on defense, he's a better rebounder, there are many factors why Moses Moody is better than Trey Murphy. But I can see why people would, get the idea that maybe Trey Murphy might be better than him. Trey Murphy is 2 inches taller than him and has a better shot. But here's the thing. Moses Moody has a wider frame, so he makes up the difference with those 2 inches. And not only that, they have the same wingspan, so you can't really give him a head on that. And like I said, he's a better defender. He's more of a fit with Golden State than Trey Murphy is because he's had a coach that also coached with the Golden State Warriors. He's more ready for the NBA and specifically for the Golden State Warriors. So he's actually like the perfect fit of any player in the draft for Golden State. Unless you're talking about like the high-end guys who are like 1 through 3. Then you can make a case for maybe one of them. But Moses Moody was probably the best you could probably get for Golden State, and we got him at 14. So there's no real reason to be mad about Moses Moody over Trey Murphy. They're basically the same player, but there's a reason why most scouts, mock drafts from NBA people had Moses Moody ahead of Trey Murphy. He is a much better player than Trey Murphy, but Trey Murphy, I do think will still be a really good player. It's just that, between the two of them, Moses Moody is by far the better player. So there's no reason to be mad that he was picked over Trey Murphy. Yeah, all in all, they had a great night. They even got that kid McLaughlin for their G League team, who was really good. Maybe one day he could find a spot on the roster. I don't think it'll be this year. I think now they're going to really have to focus on the free agent market. I do think they need like 2 or 3 veteran players on the team, but it'll really depend on what they're able to do in free agency. And so with that, that's what I'm going to talk about in the next video. So hopefully you guys will look around for that. But let me know in the comments down below. What did you guys think of draft night for the Warriors? Are you one of those guys who are like, no, they needed to make a trade and we're going to be really bad next year? Or are you going, you know, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, let's see what happens. Maybe we trade them, maybe we keep them. And, you know, my thing has always been like, if we do keep them and we're like blowing teams out by 20, then why would we trade them? I don't think that's going to happen. But I'm just saying, like, you never really know until the season starts, you know, what they can mean for the team. So, but yeah, let me know down below what you guys thought of the draft and what Golden State was able to do. Make sure you leave a like if you like this video. And yeah, I'm going to catch you guys in the next video.